Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Municipality of Monroeville Citizen Night and Council Work Session. Today is Thursday, August 7th, 2014, approximately 7 p.m. If we'd all kindly rise for the Lord's Prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Our Father,
who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tim, would you grab the list?
Yeah, sure.
As soon as Mr. Little gets back with the list, we'll go off the list of the folks that signed in, and then we will open the floor for anybody who would like to address council.
Just the top.
Thank you, sir. Chuck, you want to come on up and with your lovely bride, if you would, please.
Hi, my name is Chuck Somerville. I'm a resident here of Monroeville. With me is my wife of 51 years. And we're here to talk about the Monroeville Jazz Festival. It's a festival that's being held annually, and it got its start in St. Bernadette's basement, St. Bernadette's church basement, in 1999. We took it out to the public and started growing it further, and this year we're celebrating our 12th. Last year, and by the way, we do have this, we conduct this at the Tall Trees Amphitheater in Monroeville Community Park West. It's a fantastic venue, and the Parks and Recreation Committee, or Department, the Public Works Department, and Mark Ruffo have been overwhelmingly cooperative in helping us out. Last year, we set a new record. We had over 1,000 people in attendance. This is also for the benefit of the Greater Pittsburgh Community Food Bank, as well as for the blood bank from Central Blood Bank specifically. So last year we had over 1,000 people in attendance. We collected over $1,000 for the food bank. We further collected over 650 pounds of non-perishables for the food bank. And for the first time ever at the Tall Trees Amphitheater stage, we had a national artist whose name was Tony DeSera from New York. He's a young, good-looking Italian dude with his, I mean.
Not you, Greg.
I didn't say anything. Thanks, Ron.
We tell it like it is.
Yes, he does.
At any rate, he's a vocalist as well as a pianist, and he's also a Yamaha pianist. So he asked for, and they delivered to that stage, first time ever, a $185,000 Yamaha grand piano. It blew the socks off of everything, and Dana, the sound guy at Tall Trees, did a great job of recording it all. So we're here to promote the 12th annual. It's coming up very shortly, Saturday, August 23rd. I might mention it is free. Everything's paid for with corporate sponsors. Our website is monroevillejazz.org. If you want to call me personally, Chuck Somerville, 412-372-4332. Greg, you have a question?
No,
Oh, comment?
I just think it's a great service that you do for the community with that.
Well, thank you very much. We've got a nice board, and my wife is one of the founders. She's also in charge of all the volunteers. So if anybody would like to volunteer, we still need some people for parking, stagehands, and helping miscellaneous other activities. Please give us a call or contact us through the website.
Chuck, will food be available?
Pardon?
Will food be available?
Yeah, we'll have
purchase
food
food?
vendors. One is going to be opening up the concession stand, namely the Monroeville Soccer League. And we'll also have Angie's from Wilmerding and big favorite is Ben & Jerry's ice cream. Or you can bring your own. You must bring your own seating. We don't supply seats.
Very good. Thank
All
you
right?
again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So hopefully, those of you sitting here as well, listening in the audience, you'll support our jazz festival. Robert Serafini, if you would, please.
Hello, my name is Robert Serafini. I live in Monroeville. I'm here also to make an announcement. I want all of those who are interested or have any questions or anything, there is a Planning Commission meeting this August 20th at 7:30 pertaining to the temple on Aber Creek Road. Everybody should come that is interested, get things on a first-hand basis rather than hear everything secondhand from your neighbors or something who do come and find out. I say it's going to be August 20th, 7:30. That's a Wednesday night. And like I said, I'm sure he would have announced it tonight, Jim, but I thought you'd beat you to it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robert.
And also, the Planning Commission meetings are televised as well.
Yes. Ralph Greco,
I'm going to pass.
just like that.
He just wanted you to say it.
I want to talk to you.
Oh, is that how, you just wanted me to say his name over the air, okay. And Mary, and I'm not sure how to say your last name, so come on up, I apologize.
Hi, I'm Mary Selnick, and I'm just basically here to ask for your help to get Old Ramsey Road repaired. It's a total mess. The upper part is starting to deteriorate. There's a spring going across the road, which is going to eventually wash the road away. There's also weeds growing halfway down, blocking one side of the one lane, right above the Draculic house. I'm just afraid if the lower part's not fixed, the upper part's going to go too. And I have to get out. I've got to go to work. If there's even a touch of snow on that road, going down the hill to get home, I slide the whole way. So I'm just asking for your help. Does anyone have any?
I believe that's on our agenda.
It's on our, it's on our agenda
It's on our
tonight.
agenda
Oh, it
for
is?
tonight.
Okay.
And I also live back there on Westminster, so I know, what goes on with that road in the winter. But
Okay.
it is on the agenda for tonight, and there is process being made, and things will start to get taken care of.
Okay, I
So,
appreciate that.
sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
And that's all that's signed in, so I'll leave the floor open for anybody who would like to address council. Please state your name for the record.
My name is Lynn Thompson, and I think I've talked to everybody here on council. I'm with Revive Pittsburgh, which is the new urban radio station that's coming to Monroeville, and I've been hoarse for 4 days, so.
You're just trying to sound like me.
Not really. But I wanted to let you guys know what is going on with Revive. Next week, our internet station will be up. We will have our internet station up, and we're going to be running that. 2 weeks after that, we're going to have the AM side up. So we're like really stressing here because we got to get this up. But we've changed our festival. Our festival was going to be August 9th. I got sick, as you can tell, and we've changed it. We've pushed it back. We also have become in conjunction with Gateway High School. So now what we're doing for our grand opening kickoff is we're going to have a parade. And we're going to have the high schools, we're going to have cheerleaders and bands, and we're getting in conjunction for the mentorship program, because the mentorship program is going to kick off in less than 2 weeks.
Good.
So what I've done is I'm going to give you our new schedule, and I even brought all of you a copy of it, so you'll have it. But the new dates are September 6th. It's going to be a walk, run festival, and it's going to be the grand opening. So
Where's
we're
it
going
going
to
to be
have
at, Lynn?
2490 Mosside Boulevard is where the festival and the food vendors are going to be. Then we're going to have up at Gateway High School is where the bands and all that stuff are going to be, and we're putting that together. And we're going to have a walk run, and what we're going to do is we're going to do a donation to the Cancer Society. because what happened is I lost my parents to cancer, and cancer is a real touchy situation for me. And when we were out looking for vendors, we talked to, it's a group called Miss Claus, and they do blankets and donations and things for cancer victims. So what we're going to do is, once we get all the monies in, we're going to do a donation to them.
So I assume you'll make, if there's checks, you'd want to make out to the American Cancer Society?
No, we want to made out to Revive Pittsburgh, because Revive Pittsburgh is going to give the donation to them, okay? And that's on September 6th. On October 4th, we're having a real big event. It's going to be our kickoff, which is going to be at the Peterson Event Center. And we're going to have R. Kelly, which is one of the big R&B entertainers, and everybody wants him. He hasn't been to Pittsburgh in a while, so. But Revive Pittsburgh is going to protect Revive Pittsburgh. We're going to have tight security, so we'll have that. And on October 10th, we're having a black tie affair. Now, that is going to be, we're going to have a lot of the politicians, right, Mayor? And we're going to have, we're going to be getting a key to Monroeville. We're also going to have a lot of the councilmen and council people from downtown Pittsburgh. So it's going to be a real nice affair.
And where would that be at?
That's going to be at the Pittsburgh Fairmont in downtown Pittsburgh. And you'll see the ads, because they're going to be starting to run next week, okay? Also, we're going to be honoring our mentors and our mentorees, because I'm going to push them through the program so that we can honor them. So we're I'm really striving to get our kids. I'm looking for guys and gals that are 16. They have to be 16, because we have employers that want our kids. So we're going to be able to put our kids through employment. They're going to go through training. We're going to follow them all the way through college or whatever they're going to do. So that's what we're going to be shooting for on October 10th. And October 12th is going to be the last of it. It's going to be our Gospel Fest. We're bringing in Reverend Shirley Caesar, and we're also bringing in Erica Campbell, who used to be part of Mary Mary. So that's going to be at Soldiers and Sailors Memorial Hall. So that's going to be the closeout. We're also looking for basketball kids, because we're getting ready to form a basketball team here in Pittsburgh. And we're going to be a part of the NBA. So I need your kids. I need them bad. So if there's any questions, I can answer.
On the 6th, what time?
Everything starts at 6 o'clock, except for the walk run. That's going to start at 10. And that's going to, like I said, you'll see, we're going to get our signs out there. You're going to see the advertisements. We're really going strong with that. And tonight we have in the house one of Revive's DJs. He's our main DJ, and a lot of you will probably remember him. His name is Sly Jock from Whamma. But we don't say that word. We say Revive. So he's with Revive Pittsburgh, and he's a real active part. And Sly, if you want to stand up.
Hi.
So I just put him on the spot. He's going to kill me, but I'm his boss. He's not mine.
Lynn, what area does this all represent?
We are looking for kids. I don't care where they come from. I'm looking east, north, west, and south.
Okay.
I don't care.
Okay.
I don't care. My goal is, because I was with the Urban Youth Action Program, my goal is to get these kids off the street. Have them stop killing one another. They don't have anything to do. That's what the problem is. So I think if once we get them, and we get them in orientation, and we get them trained, and then we're going to have kids working at the radio station, and we're going to have them doing news, and we're going to have them doing commentaries. So you're going to see Revive out there, but they're going to be Revive kids. Okay, so
When you talk about the training and all that, is there a facility you're going to use?
Yes.
Where's that located?
At our location, we have in the back part of 2490, that's exclusively for Revive Mentorship Program.
Oh, okay.
Okay, we have classrooms. They have to start in the one classroom, and they go all the way around until they're through. Once they're through, we're going to have a graduation party for them, and the whole 9 yards.
Okay, thank
Okay?
you.
You're welcome.
Lynn, you tried to call me, I think,
Yes,
and your message broke up. I couldn't get your call back.
that's because I didn't have a voice.
Yeah, I understand. So if you wanted to try again, that's
Yes,
fine.
I will.
Okay.
And as a matter of fact, I'll give you my number. You can always call us, okay? Our number is 412-646-2917. And as I said, I have event sheets for you guys, and it has our number and our fax number in there. Yeah.
And most importantly, what's the website address? You said you're going live next week?
Yes.
So where can people listen?
Our website address is www.revivepittsburgh.
Spelled out all.
Pittsburgh is spelled out.
Okay.
Radio, not radio. Radio, RADIO.com.
And then you hope to have the AM station shortly thereafter?
Oh, yeah, 2
Do you have-
weeks after.
Do you have your numbers yet?
Yes, but I'm still not giving them.
Okay.
Oh, you're still having the contest?
Yes, we still are. We have the contest going on. Now, what the contest consists of is we are looking for DJs. So if you guys know any DJs, send them to me. Their entrance fee is $40. They have to make a CD, and then we're going to announce them at the festival. So that's what all this is, hoopla is about. Okay? Any other question?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you,
Thank you.
guys. Oh, I have the letter also from, about the celebration. We only were able to make a couple copies, so what I'll do is I'll get them up here tomorrow. I'll just leave them out front at the,
You should take them up to the desk
yes,
upstairs.
yes, I will. Then I'm gonna pass it.
Thank you.
We have to close to the citizens.
Okay, yeah, but when we're done.
Thank you.
I ran out. I promise I'll bring you some.
We share.
Can't read anyway.
Will you share?
We'll share.
I don't trust him. I don't trust him.
Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, again, I'll leave the floor open for any resident that would like to address council. Please sign in rather, and state your name for the record. Did you sign in, Lynn?
No.
Yeah, please do.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is John Yakum, and I am a resident of Monroeville. Mr. Mayor, members of council, Manager Little, and Solicitor Dice, good evening to all of you. Mr. Mayor, thank you for the opportunity to speak to you and council again this evening. Mr. Mayor, several months ago, you promised a more open approach to residents' questions. I and others are certainly looking forward to this period of openness. Mr. Mayor, several months ago, Councilman Harvey said, and I quote, "The Attorney General's letter is wrong. I intend on proving it." And you stated, Mr. Mayor, that Mr. Little had been trying to contact the AG office for a meeting. Could you please tell us what the status of this meeting is, and as a follow-up, does Councilman Harvey have the proof that the letter is wrong?
Mr. Little? We have not.
We have not heard anything from the AG's office, John,
Okay.
as of yet. And that's basically all I can say. We haven't heard anything. We have tried, and I'm going back to April, have tried to schedule a meeting with them.
We can't hear you, sir.
And the meeting has not been forthcoming.
Okay.
Okay, and that's not because, on our part. Okay?
because Mr. Harvey wants to clarify some issues, and I'll let him speak to that, clarify some issues about their, I don't use the word investigation loosely. I don't know if that's their inquiry, because I can't speak to that about their inquiry with the fire departments. And I'll let, Ron, speak to that. But we have tried to contact them for a meeting, and to no avail.
Okay.
John, I spent half of my life doing investigations for the police department. I can't have any clue as to how they came to the conclusions they did when they didn't talk to the people I know they didn't talk to, because I went around and asked. So I simply asked Mr. Little and Chief Cole to contact the AG's office so I could sit down and better understand where they obtained their facts from or didn't obtain their facts, which I don't think I'm going to find they did. I think I'm probably going to be surprised as to what they based their report on, but I don't know that for a fact yet, because I do know that Mr. Little and Doug Cole have had email communications with the AG's office, and they just aren't here yet. And I don't know whether it's their schedule. It's certainly not ours. And that communication has been made, but we're waiting for them to come down and talk to us.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Mayor, it has been over 5 months since the beginning of the CSI investigation. This investigation is taking longer than the daily investigation. I and others are hearing several things coming out of the CSI investigation. It is apparent that one of the investigators is a personal friend with one of the employees involved in the investigation. Could you comment, Mr. Mayor, on any potential conflicts of interest related to this investigation and the personal relationships of the investigators to one of our employees?
I don't know of any conflict of interest. The length of time is apparently, it's a matter of getting everybody to sign, is my understanding, and overall their testimony. So as we instructed, whatever time it takes, take that time. When it's done, it'll be done right.
Okay, it's related to the CSI investigation. It has bless you. It has become apparent that the nature of the investigation has changed from what was initially approved by council. The initial motion and the engagement letters signed by both Mr. Dice in February and Mr. Little in April all use the phrase relative to the accuracy and content of the daily investigation. Mr. Mayor, would you comment on this apparent change?
There's no change that I'm aware of. Again, we're just trying to get to the facts and get down to what we need to address.
Okay. And finally, Mr. Mayor, the Attorney General's office, the Office of Civil Rights at HHS, and the Daily Report all indicated that unauthorized individuals had access to confidential information through the municipal computer system. There were certainly variations in the nature and the jurisdiction of those three reports, but in summary, they all said that people who shouldn't have been looking at sensitive information were. Can you assure us, Mr. Mayor, that a year after the Daily Report was released, that unauthorized individuals are no longer accessing confidential patient or career-related information?
Let's be very clear, no patient information was compromised.
That's not true, sir.
And that's your
The
opinion.
HHS letter said that there was stuff that was compromised, and we've seen it in the press.
No, it did not, John, but you can have your opinion on that, but there's been nothing compromised, and nobody's getting...
What there wasn't was jurisdiction of HHS over the dispatch center, or the dispatch center wasn't covered by HIPAA. It didn't say, that letter did not say that patient information wasn't compromised. It just said that the people who did the compromising were not subject to HHS jurisdiction.
That's not my understanding, so again, that's, we have difference of opinion, but I can assure you, nobody that's unauthorized is looking at anything other than what their job or their position is allowed.
Okay, so you can assure us that civilians...
100%.
Firefighters and unauthorized individuals are no longer accessing private information stored in our computer systems?
None. I can guarantee you none of that.
Okay. Thanks for answering the questions.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, I will open it up for any resident that would like to address council. Seeing none, we'll close the Citizens Night proportion of the meeting, and we'll go over to the business meeting proportion this evening. And before we get into too much, let's going to ask our fire chiefs to come on up from number 4. And if you would, sir, please sign in, state your name for the record.
Good evening, everyone. My name's Scott Faze. I'm the fire chief at Monroeville Volunteer Fire Company number 4 on Northern Pike. And I have come to graciously ask Mr. Mayor, Manager Little, and council to place the purchase of one custom pumper manufactured by Seagrave Fire Apparatus on the agenda at the August 12th, 2014 council meeting for approval. The Monroeville Fire Chiefs Committee have met several times on this specification, which I have brought forth to them in conjunction with Seagrave Fire Apparatus, and we've reviewed that, and it meets all the current municipal specifications that was created to keep normalcy of the purchase and the manufacturing of the apparatus. That's a pretty long and undrawn-out process that we met several times over, and I have handed you all a letter that is signed by all the Monroeville fire chiefs stating that they approve the specification that I put forth. This purchase is going to replace a 1996 Pierce Lance pumper. The members of Company 4 have understand the financial burden of a purchase such as this, and we've done our best to create a specification that has come nearly $20,000 under the municipal allowed budget.
Well, let me help you out here. Council, any questions for our chief on this item? And none for me. Seeing none,
The only comment I have is to remind council that Chief Faze and his company delayed the purchase of this pumper twice at the request of council in years past.
that is true.
And this still, Mr. Little, works into the lease that we spoke about?
Correct. I'm in the process of putting that together. Chief Wynn gave me his specs and estimation of the command truck last Friday, and I'm in the process right now. I should have that going out for bid and hopefully for an award at the September council meeting.
Tim, if I may, I've had some residents request that the bid, well, whenever you get done with the bidding process, if you'd at least put that on the website so they can review
The bid
contracts,
document,
if you
yeah,
will.
the RFP will be on the website.
Very good.
And Mr. Little, if you could just briefly explain the lease. I've had some questions as far as people think lease, they think how you lease a car.
It's a little bit different.
It's a little bit
No,
different.
it's a lease purchase.
So we'd
At
explain
the end
that
of the
to
lease, you maintain, or you acquire the asset. It's a lease purchase. And once the lease is over with with either the police cars, the public works trucks, the fire vehicles, they will be ours. It's a lease purchase.
Right, so it has nothing to do with like mileage
No,
and the fact
no.
that they put extra equipment on these vehicles?
Mm-mm.
Because we had some questions and
All of those,
clear that up.
all of that, all the specifications, especially with the fire trucks, and even with the police cars and the public works trucks, they are all going to be, that's why I ask each department head to put it into a concise format, because especially the fire trucks, you probably have maybe about 100 pages of specifications, and I'm not going to put 200 pages for 2 fire trucks in a RFP. So I'm looking for a 1, 2, 3 page at the most specifications with an estimate, and you have provided that, and that's what's going to go into the RFP. Now, with that being said, if any of the bidders, the banks or the leasing companies, if they want any additional information, that will be forthcoming.
There's two comments that I want to remind council, and one of them is, I reminded the fire chiefs to maybe come up here and talk to council to get this approval on Tuesday night for a couple reasons. One of them is, these fire truck manufacturers have regular price increases, and something that costs this much, when they add a couple percent on it, it's significant. The other one was, if we would give Mr. Little the ability to prepay the fire truck many times, and I didn't find out if Scott has talked to Seagrave if they have a prepaid discount, but
I have, and it's not built into that document I gave you. So the financial obligation on that handout that I gave you will not go up. And most likely, it's going to go down.
Well, this is the figure that unless
Yeah.
within the next couple weeks you give me a lower figure, this will be
Right.
the figure that I'll put in as an estimation for the
It will guaranteed not to be higher than that figure on your piece of paper right
But
there.
isn't that the key word that you used, Tim, estimation?
Correct, yeah.
Scott, does Seagrave offer a prepaid discount?
Yes, they do.
What that means is that typically, we wouldn't pay for the fire truck until it's delivered, and the chiefs check it over and make sure that it meets specifications. However, if you pay up front, they offer sometimes a 2, 3, or 4% discount for paying up front. Now, the roll of the dice is that there's nothing major wrong with the apparatus, and most of the major manufacturers today won't let that happen because they're going to get a very bad rap if that happens. So many times doing the prepay saves you thousands of dollars.
Now, would that impact the lease at all?
Now, the leasing companies, they're agreeable to
They're okay with that?
prepays.
Okay.
So, council, is there consensus to put this on the agenda for Tuesday?
Yes.
Scott, anything else for us?
Mr. Harvey?
Sorry.
A quick question. Would the leasing company, wouldn't they want to protect their investment and perhaps do a check over with the vehicle itself based on what the requirements were that were written by the fire departments?
The leasing company typically just makes sure that, that the amount of money that they're lending looks like the apparatus that's spec'd is worth it. When the leasing company, when it gets closer to time for Mr. Little to review that, I'm sure he'll provide that general description to them.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Scott?
Just want to point out the fact that, in case anyone didn't pick up on it, this is $20,000 less than they were allotted. So I thank you all for the time you put into try and save everyone some money. So, thanks.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Scott.
You're welcome. Thank you, everybody.
All righty.
Have a good night.
You
Thanks,
too.
Scott.
Amanda Settlemeyer, you want to come on up and maybe, just in case council does have any questions on a summary of our PA Land Banks legislation? Hopefully,
I was going to do that in my report.
oh, you're going to do that in your report? Oh, never mind, sorry. I jumped again. I apologize. Sorry, sir.
All right.
Okay, moving right along. As you see on the agenda there, we have the library award, but that'll be on next Tuesday, so, the community engagement award, so we'll do that on Tuesday. Moving over to approval of our minutes, and actually, it's just a review of the regular council meeting of June 10th, 2014, Citizens Night meeting of July 3rd, 2014, the council work session of July 2014, and the regular council meeting of July 8th, 2014. Council, do we have any corrections or additions? Seeing none, we'll move over to the reports of our tax collections. Once again, council, I will ask, do you have any additions or corrections? Moving over to the payroll report, any additions or corrections on payroll? Moving over to our list of bills and budget transfers.
Question.
Please.
On page 15, there is for Dickey, McCamey, and Chillicothe, a $876.40 invoice that appears that is from February of this past year, was submitted to us, it looks like in May, to be paid now. And my question is, why they're still on our payroll or budget or bills at all.
Yeah, I called Mr. Brezhnehan, I forget his first name, from Dickey and McCamey, because I got this bill about 2 months ago, and I called him about it and inquired, and the bill was actually, Linda, what page is that on?
Page 15.
15, all right. That bill, we had some of that knocked off because they had reports that they ran off from Mr. Dice's office. And I questioned about the hourly rate on that. And I can understand that a law firm, they have somebody run off reports, they have somebody actually physically take the documents to the borough building here. It wasn't to Bruce's office. And I inquired about that, and I said, you don't have to be charging attorney hourly rates for that. You probably have a secretary doing that. So he changed that. He told me just to forget about it and knock it off the bill. So that bill was about $400 higher. However, everything else on the bill was, I questioned him about it, and they did do the work back in January, February, and March. Now, to follow up with that, I have another bill sitting on my desk that I have to call Mr. Brezhnehan from April, and it has to do with the same thing, mostly document generation is what it is.
And who got all these documents? Dice's office?
Mostly Bruce's office, and what I can do is I can give a copy of the invoice to council, and they can, to both invoices, and council can look at it.
Please do.
Please do.
Please.
Sure.
Any other questions or comments, Lynn?
I have one.
No.
Well, I'm going down the line there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Nick?
No questions this evening.
Ron?
Okay. On page, where the heck does it start?
21.
That's where it ends, right?
No, it starts on 21.
Ends on 24.
Correct.
Ron, how does she know your questions? I just have.
Because I asked her if she noticed, and as you can tell, she did. The landscaping and the grass cutting for, apparently, I'm going to ask, all these homes that are either abandoned, not occupied, and we're cutting the grass so the neighbors don't have to live beside, 6 feet of grass. This month alone is $4,570. We doing anything to lien these properties so they can't be sold till we get our money back?
All of them are liened, Ron.
Yeah.
Pardon me?
Every single time we do a cut of grass for a property, there is a lien.
They are, that I'm sure of, because I looked into that a while back.
Oh, good.
To make sure, because I have a few of them in my neighborhood, and every time I see that, it's a subcontractor cutting. Every time I go up, I check to see.
Do we include the cost of the time or would the fees to lien these properties as well? Into this?
Absolutely,
Yes? Okay, okay.
So these properties that are on this grass cutting list can't be sold without giving us our money back.
Well, you know what, folks? I think you're going to enjoy the land bank presentation that Tim's going to do with Amanda Settlemeyer, because these are the issues, if you remember me talking back a few months ago. These are some of the properties, if they're really truly abandoned and they're worth us getting involved in it, we can get them back on the roll. So, Amanda, we'll be looking forward to your report a little later.
Now, out of that $4,000, has any of that been recovered yet?
No.
Yes.
Oh, it has been? I didn't
Yes,
think it
there is.
was.
And I would just make caution that those bills are not just for 1 month. It's a backlog of bills that we finally got the invoices, they've been entered. There has been some money, it's just not a 1 month invoice, it's
I
for
thought it was
several
1 month,
months.
too.
No.
Well,
And there has
I
been-
didn't notice that many before,
And there has been some money recuperated from either lending institutions or the individuals paying the portion of their bill. So there has been some money recuperated.
Do you have any
from that.
idea how much, Paul?
I want to say to date, there was about $6,000 paid total. I think $3,000 was recuperated. Because I just had my budget meeting with Tim and
Oh,
I
good,
did all that
good.
information.
That's better. I mean, it's not good, but it's better.
It is better.
That'll get
That is
backlogged.
my only
Why was there such a big backlog?
I think it was a combination of how it goes through our system, plus when we got the invoices from the grass cutting company.
JJ, you're up.
I have nothing at the minute.
Paul?
No, sir, thanks.
Steve?
I have no question on the bills.
And Tom?
No question.
Very good. Okay, we'll move over to our new business, and this would be 14-3, SUB, Cheryl G. Stevenson, and I assume, Paul, you're going to handle that for us.
I am. Did you do vacancies on?
Not yet.
That's for Tuesday.
That's for Tuesday.
Oh. I thought he couldn't read.
I can't.
Okay, this is the application requesting a final subdivision approval for the consolidation of parcel 855K150 and parcel 854K157 to create Lot 1 totaling .756 acres. The property is located at 520 Cottage Lane in the R2 Single Family Residential Zoning District. The Planning Commission recommended approval. Everything is in order with this application. Basically, this is Cottage Lane. This is an existing home. It has one lot here. It has a second lot here. They want to combine it, make one larger lot.
It said with conditions. What conditions they have? Paul?
Everyone has a condition with it, and one of the conditions is that you have 90 days to record it with the county
okay.
planning department.
Just housekeeping.
Yeah, it's housekeeping items.
Okay.
But it's just a simple consolidation of 2 lots.
Questions or comments for Paul on this issue, folks?
Paul, is there a structure on the lot they are pulling in?
There is a shed, and that's actually what spawned this whole consolidation. There's an existing shed here. The individual wants to put a bigger shed or relocate the shed, and you can't have the shed as a primary structure on a lot. So in order to do that, he has to consolidate the lot to make one lot to put an accessory structure on it. You can't have an accessory structure as your primary on a lot as a primary structure.
Did they own that second lot then
Yes.
already?
Yes, they
Okay,
did.
okay.
It was just subdivided.
Yes, it was just 2 separate lots.
And that was
And in order
grandfathered
to-
in?
In
shed?
order, well, and the shed was existing when they bought it. So in order to do any more with the shed, they have to consolidate it into one lot.
Bring it up to code now.
That's correct.
Okay.
Questions or comments on this item? JJ?
No, sir.
None? Okay.
Okay?
Sir? And moving on, along with the agenda, you'll see on B, we have motions, and the first motion is a motion to accept the resignation of Ellen Goldhagen from the Library Board, and the second motion is to approve the advertisement for the reconstruction of Old Ramsey Road. Questions or comments on either item, council?
We have a few options on Ramsey, isn't that correct, Paul?
We did. We originally had given you a cost estimate several months back, Steve, doing what's called a soldier beam lagging wall. That cost was very high. We explored some different options, and what we come up with is what is called soil nailing. It's a top-down construction. It's not as intrusive into the stream, which generates a lot of comments out of DEP, a different type of a permit from DEP. And it also is about a 40% reduction in cost, what we're looking at doing here.
But it will correct the problem.
It will correct the problem. The only caution I would send to council is that all we're fixing is a landslide area. We're not fixing the entire roadway. This is just to fix the landslide area to get the road reopened. You're not reconstructing Old Ramsey Road. It's just that specific area.
And do we have plans on doing the other part of Ramsey Road?
Well, there's no money allocated for it. The rest of the road, as the lady in the audience said, the rest of the road needs some attention to it, and it has for years. And, but this cost that you're looking at, which is $525,000, approximately, is just to fix the landslide and get the road reopened.
Now, maybe this is a Tim question. How much was the original estimate on that?
We're about 850,000, close to 900,000 with the soldier beaming lagging wall. And again, that was only to fix the slide area also.
Oh, my.
Yes, we're just talking about the slide area.
Paul, are you going to give a presentation on Tuesday night or showing what's going to be done so that everyone understands that it's going to be basically end up with a stone base so that it can
I can't-
compact down
I mean,
before?
I don't have a
And then
problem
next
with it.
year would be the asphalting, just so that everybody is
Right.
on
Well,
the same page.
What we talked about, if council wants to go ahead and authorize this, we could put the bids, put out for bid and have the bid opening probably in October. You can do the construction during the winter. The winter months won't hinder your construction. What you won't get is the paving, because the asphalt plants will be closed during the winter time. So you could bring the road surface up to a stone So you can still travel on the road, but there won't be any paving. And then come springtime, you can finish the paving section of it.
Well, let me ask you this, will the other part that we're not touching, is that going to be okay to travel on through the winter? Because she brought a good point up that,
It's rough.
It's not sliding, though, Paul.
No.
It's more or less a cosmetic issue as
It's right.
far as asphalt.
With the problem,
that's what I guess I wanted to
the problem
bring
with the
up.
rest of the road is that water collects underneath the asphalt. During the winter freeze-thaw cycles, it heaves the asphalt. And until you fix that problem, it's never going to go away. So, we go through this cycle every winter of that road heaving in several locations. That's because water gets trapped underneath of it.
So if we fix this piece, the current slide area,
Yes, sir.
is another area going to slide because we're not paying it any attention?
I don't necessarily know what would slide. There's an area further down, which is where there's a current retaining wall, that it shows some degradation. It may or may not, in the next, couple of years, need attention. It could. But what we're looking at here is just to fix the slide area to get the road reopened.
well, I would assume then Counselor, you would consider finishing that in the next season coming up then? I would think that would be appropriate, yes.
Yeah, I mean, what we're looking at doing is, we could do the construction during the winter, bring it up to the grade level with stone. You could drive on it, and have the road reopened, and then in the spring, you could finish it with the asphalt. But again, it's just that, it's a spot area. It's not the entire roadway.
But Paul, if you could give us an
Oh, I'm sorry. I
The-
stepped on you.
No, that's all right. The soldier beam and lagging, which is, an example is up, heading into Murraysville near.
Along Route 22, near
Yeah,
McClure
with
Road.
The
Yes.
steel, the big steel beams with
Those
the
are-
concrete that comes
That's
down.
correct.
Now, to do the road perfect, like you're saying, if to fix the problem, would we have to do a soldier beam and lagging the whole road, or just the two spots?
No, actually, the methodology we're using with the soil nailing.
No, I'm sorry, but if you were to say, like, there's always going to be a problem, if you were to go all in and fix the road fully 100%, what would we be looking at?
Well, you could use this methodology where the existing wall is at.
Okay.
You can use the same methodology. You don't have to use the soldier beam and lagging wall. And the reason the cost was so high is because you have to basically drill holes into the stream bottom, which is where the whole issue with the DEP comes in. This methodology, you don't have to do that.
But if we did,
But you can do this on the retaining wall that's there now. You can use it in that fashion.
My only question is
Go ahead.
inactive as that creek is, I've been by there hundreds of times. A lot of times, there's no flow at all. During a storm event, there'd be flow. The DEP will not allow us to just pipe that entire creek.
No.
But it's okay to pipe it to go under 48, or...
Sure. It's short span. Right.
I don't understand their logic as far as, I could see if it was a creek with little salamanders and it had flow.
I'll tell you what, when you figure out their logic, you let me know.
It's just, how about a portion where the slide is? Could we pipe that?
They were very negative when we talked to them about it, and they were very negative about it.
Negative as in no, or?
Yeah, they basically said.
Because we could pipe it for a minimal cost in comparison to all these other options. Okay, Paul, thanks.
Paul, would it be worth considering paving all of Ramsey Road in 2015?
No.
No, not unless you have to take care of the water problem. Until you take care of putting the water into a drainage system so it doesn't get trapped under the road, it's going to continue to heave every winter. So if you pave it next year, the following winter, the same thing is going to happen.
Paul, that was part of my question, actually. I'm sorry. So if you were to fix the water problem and
Yes.
the road, what are we looking at?
I don't know the cost, we could put a cost to it.
That'd be good to
I
do
think
that.
that'd be a
Next year?
prudent step. I think we should do that.
As far as just curious what it would be to
Right.
100%
And I
do
actually,
everything.
I think I have it in my office because we put it into a capital improvement request 2 cycles ago. So I probably have that information.
Maybe you could provide that to us Tuesday?
So
Okay.
to fix the water problem would be a French drain on the right-hand side coming up,
Exactly,
and which we've done
Yes.
minorly throughout the years.
correct,
And they clog and silt up, and then that's where we get our issues.
right.
Is that something that
How will
wants
this
to do?
improve if the water problem isn't corrected?
Well, The end result is the road is going to remain in the disrepair that it's in until you fix that problem. There's no reason to put money into paving when it's just going to deteriorate in the following winter season.
But the DEP is telling us that we can't pipe under the road to
No.
relieve that problem?
No, what Steve's talking about is putting a pipe, it's basically parallel with the road.
Oh, okay. But so we can put a pipe under that road to relieve that water problem?
Sure,
that
I mean,
forces
yeah,
the con-
where we need to do a better drainage project is a non-DEP issue. They would have no input.
So we plan to do that?
Yeah, I can give you a cost estimate, what that would be.
That would be good too, if you can do that for Tuesday.
Thank you.
Sure.
And that would also be something our Public Works could do, right, Paul? We
Yes,
wouldn't
they
have to
could-
farm that out.
They could do the work.
Okay. That's what I thought.
Good. Any other questions or comments on this item? All righty, we'll move over to resolutions. Tim, if you would, please.
Yeah, 3 resolutions for this Tuesday's council meeting. The first resolution is to enter into a 5-year agility agreement with the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation. To explain to council and the public, an agility agreement with PennDOT is an agreement of value for value. If the PennDOT can do something for Monroeville, Monroeville will do the same value worth for PennDOT. For instance, a lot of times what happens is a lot of communities do not have line painting machines, so PennDOT will paint the lines on the roads for the municipality. Where municipalities have cutters, grass cutters that cut berms of roads, then they do that for PennDOT. That's one example. Now, entering into this, passing this resolution does not mean you have to do anything. All it is a resolution that if Mike Adams, our Public Works Superintendent, talks with Carmen Ignotti from the PennDOT district station here in Monroeville, and we have a meeting and we come up with a value for value, and then we present it to you as a council, this is what we're going to be doing, then we'll move ahead with it. The resolution will already be in place. So there's a list attached to the resolution that I gave council, and it's a very voluminous list of what can be put into the agility agreement. Patching roads, just to look at a couple here, joint sealing, drainage, but keep in mind, it has to be a quid pro quo, a value for value, and each party has to agree to it. Drainage, major slides, of course, something like Ramsey Road, that would be a big value right there.
How would
They
that be
could
a
even-
value being our road?
Yeah, they could, another item that I found out from Angelo Pampina, pardon me?
Steve had a question.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I didn't mean to interrupt, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No,
How would that be a value, Ramsey Road? How would we use this?
Oh, no, I was being facetious.
Oh. Sorry about that, go
I was
ahead.
being facetious.
I was going to say, that's big money.
I was going to say, would it be, well, what I was going to follow up with that, what I didn't know that I learned the other week is that PennDOT could, for instance, let's say that they're paving a road in the community and we need a residential road. Let's say it's 400 or 500 feet long. It's right off of the arterial road that they're paving. It's their road. They could go ahead and pave that, and what we do, we have an agreement with them, which is one of the other resolutions here for winter maintenance that we do with PennDOT. We plow some roads and we salt some of PennDOT's roads. We could still plow and salt the roads, but then that money would be deducted off of the value that they did for paving that road. I did not know you could do that under an agility agreement, but you can do that. So that's, now whether they just changed that, I don't know, but I never knew you could do that under an agility agreement.
Any other comments on this?
I do, I have one. In regards to the agreement, the way I understood this, and I just wanted you to clear it up for me, that if we went ahead with this agility agreement, that any quid pro quo agreement that was made individually wouldn't have to come before council. That would eliminate it coming before.
This
council.
could lie for 5 years, and we could not do anything.
No, but he's saying
No, my
if they do
question
have an
is-
agreement, it has to come before council. This should take care of it.
Yeah, I would bring it before council, telling council this is what we're going to do. I would communicate that to council in some fashion, either at a public meeting, through a memo. I don't know necessarily it has to come to council, come to a meeting, but if you want it coming to a meeting, sure, we could do that.
I have a little bit of a question. I don't see what the state has to offer Monroeville that Monroeville couldn't handle on their own as far as line painting machine we have right of way, other than that little paving issue. Because currently we do all the intersections on the state roads as far as painting, all the crosswalks. We maintain the lights.
Something could come up. I mean, I don't know. Something could come up.
I just don't really see anything they could offer that we could not.
Steve, real quick, I happened to be there one day when Angelo was talking about that, and I understand what you're saying. I think, if I understood him right, it may come up something that our guys are busy, and they happen to be in an area where something we need done, and Mike and his crew can't get there, and they happen to be right there, and they could take care of it, and that's how I understood him anyway.
Right, exactly. From
sounds
my
odd.
perspective, it's not hurting anything.
I can't recall a time that
And like
has Monroeville ever utilized it in.
Not to my knowledge. I don't know. When I spoke to Mike, when I first talked about this 4 years ago, I don't know if Mike Adams even knew about it.
I still don't think it would be bad having an agreement just in case. It's not going to do anything.
It's not gonna hurt anything.
Just in case thing.
There's
We
just
may
a
never
lot,
use-
there's a lot of
Yeah, exactly.
rules and regulations here, as long as we go through them all, and cover.
But also,
our
Sue,
rears.
we'd both have to agree on it, so the manager would have to agree to it
Correct.
for any project, so we can always get out of it.
Any other questions or comments on this resolution? Tim, if you would.
Yeah, well, item number 2 is exactly what I was talking about on the winter traffic services. It's a resolution to enter into a winter traffic services supplemental agreement with the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation for the 2014-15 season. There's a list of roads that we maintain, I shouldn't say maintain, that we plow and salt for winter maintenance for PennDOT. And we've been doing that for years, and most communities do that, and they get paid a certain amount of money. And
I'd like to comment on that also, if I may.
well, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Steve.
We in Monroeville have like a black road policy in comparison to other communities, where our guys are out there until our roads are, to our standards. We also carry that forward for the state and county. I don't feel personally that they pay us enough for the applications that we put on any particular road. Salt's up to $97, I believe, and we get it at one of the cheapest rates a ton now. It's gone up.
Almost double.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
It's going
since
up
last
again.
year, $12 or $14 a ton. It's just, I think we should revisit the amount that they pay us,
Yeah, I can inquire about that. That's no problem, Steve.
or at least look into it and make sure that you might want to get in touch with Mike. As far as our applications go, I hate to bring up a road in particular, but you come out here I know it's a county road, but we also do county roads. And this could be a solid sheet of ice, Monroeville Boulevard, and the rest of our roads are black, and I'm getting a bunch of phone calls that, the boulevard's bad. I'm just using it as an example, but.
But it's a good example.
Yeah, I'm just not sure that we're getting paid
Equal.
properly for the amount of material we put down.
Well, Steve, you bring up a good point, because Mike Adams just informed Paul and I the other day that salt from Shaycog, and Shaycog is the South Hills Council of Governments. It's a cog, obviously, in the South Hills of Pittsburgh. They have the second largest salt contract in the state, other than Philadelphia. And their price, we paid, I think it was $57 a ton. We're going up $20 a ton. I don't have the figures in front of me, but we're going up significantly.
I thought it was $90-some a ton.
No, we're not.
Not that high?
No, it's not that high. I think it was
Okay.
$77 or.
Still high.
It's still high. It's going up significantly. However, we are going up less because we're dealing in volume, economies of scale. than other places who are not purchasing their salt from Shaycog or some other kind of vehicle, like the Westmoreland County Cog or whomever else, buys it in, literally barges that, that come up, the Ohio River and dock in Elizabeth. So you do have a point, and I know when I call PennDOT, I know that what they're paying us for doing these roads is not going to be commensurate with the increase in the salt.
And the amount of material we put down on a road, I mean.
And with that said, most municipalities probably put down too much salt on their roads. I mean, because your spinners get, and I'm not telling you, you were the public works superintendent for how many years, but they get uncalibrated, and usually you put down more salt than you really need. However.
You'll look into it.
Yeah, I'll look into it,
Okay.
but I can guarantee it's not going to be, everybody's salt is going up, everybody's.
The third resolution, sir?
Yeah, the third resolution is on Monday. The OPEB committee passed a motion to appoint Pierce Park as the investment firm for the OPEB trust fund. So a resolution appointing Pierce Park as the OPEB investment firm is on the agenda for Tuesday.
Questions or comments on this item? Mr. Dice.
Yes, this is an ordinance that every municipality throughout the Commonwealth is passing now. This is really mandated by the state. This is and again, it deals with floodplains. This is an ordinance of the Council of the Municipality of Monroeville, amending ordinance number 1443, including Article 6 definitions, providing additional definitions and regulation for the development of floodplains. And it goes on to amend Article 2, Section 211, floodplain districts, 212, floodplain provisions, and 213, floodplain design and construction standards by inserting new provisions for all construction or development located within a floodplain area, providing new FEMA and flood insurance rate maps.
Bruce, you want to give a very brief Reader's Digest version what that means? I understand it. I'm not sure everybody in the listening audience
We have floodplain ordinances that from time to time are required by the state to be amended. It might even be federal government.
Yeah, it's FEMA sends it down to the state level.
And new standards come out. A new set of standards have come out. Everyone has to pass it before September, some date in September.
Yeah, actually, we're supposed to adopt it in August, and it goes into effect September.
Okay. So we'll be right on target to do that on Tuesday.
Questions or comments, council? Okay, we'll move over to our reports of our officials. And Bruce, any other words of wisdom?
Not tonight.
You know what, Tim, since you have a little bit, we're going to jump around. Paul, you want to talk about Northern Pike?
That's what I said. I want to say something.
I'm sorry, sir?
That's what the note I had. I said I'd like to say something before you.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
I don't want to step on your thunder.
Oh, no, you could take it all.
No, I don't want to take it all. Believe me, I've had enough of it.
Is that called passing the buck?
All I wanted to do was let everybody, Paul Hughes is going to talk about Northern Pike because he spent the day there, and I understand that. And I just want everybody briefly to know, they know how much I've been beating the bandwagon about the gas line on Northern Pike. It's getting repaired. Unfortunately, it's turned into an open can of worms because of some other issues, and we're running into some serious problems. I'm not exactly sure how we're going to deal with it, but from that, I just want everybody to know we're going to get it done, but just hang in there. From that, I'll turn it over to Paul.
Doing a good job on it.
They are. Oh, thank you. Mr. Hughes, I'm done.
Well, I think Tim had emailed everybody about Northern Pike, sort of give you a brief overview that, as Councilman John said, the gas line was replaced, and while the gas line was being replaced, there were several storm sewer crossings that were identified as being in bad condition and needed replaced. There was a meeting at the site last week. I was not present. But at that meeting, PennDOT informed the municipality that the municipality was responsible for replacing the storm sewer system under the state road. So I spent some time researching, some of the rules and regulations of PennDOT's, and basically because we're defined as a borough, we're responsible for the storm sewer system under state roadway systems. Not only for Northern Pike, but we have, what did I tell you, Stu, total 9 state roads in the municipality that we ultimately would be responsible for the storm sewer system.
Now, is this a unique situation? Or has this happened before and this has not come up?
Well, I think it's what I could tell is it's legislation that's been passed since, what I could tell, and I passed to Bruce, was from 1945, that PennDOT really never invoked. Talked to Mr. Spielman, which was the superintendent here for many, many years, decades. Stephen was always here for a decade. To this point, Monroeville's never had to maintain storm source systems under state roads.
Who has?
It's the state.
The state has.
So now they're choosing to not.
Now it seems that they're invoking their policy that the municipality is responsible, a borough, I'm sorry.
Can there be such a thing as past practice? I mean, I've never heard of anything like this.
Well,
If there's two
No,
catch
there's a
basins on a state road, imagine if we'd have a collapse on Route 22.
Right.
With our limited manpower. I'll put our team up against, our construction crew against anybody in the state. I mean, they could do the job. But manpower and what it would take to shut Route 22 down, and it's ridiculous. If there's two catch basins on either side of the road, they're responsible for, the state is responsible for the catch basins. We're responsible for the pipe that goes between the two.
Actually, we're responsible for the catch basins, too.
Well, you know what, not just,
They'll supply frames and grates.
This is unbelievable.
the day I was standing there, Angelo from PennDOT looked me dead in the eye, and he said, this catch basin right here, he pointed it out, he says, we are in charge of this area. Anything other than that is up to you folks.
Just the top, not all.
That's
not,
it, just that.
Yeah, the frame and grate.
That's it.
Do we realize that we have 9 state roads that run through Monroeville, and the magnitude of the amount of catch basins and.
Do we have to go up in the parkway and clean out their catch basin?
No.
The parkway is exempt.
Limited access highways are exempt.
But you have Route 22, Route 48, State Road 130, 286, Thompson Run, Logan's Ferry, Northern Pikes. I mean, it's unbelievable
Certainly is.
how we could afford, because, and then there's areas like Penn Hills are not responsible because they're a township.
They were a townships.
Well, we used to be a township way back when it was Penn, or what were we called?
Old
Patton Township. So, and if that was back in the 40s, I'm sure in the 40s we were Patton Township. I don't know
That's correct.
when we became the municipality of Monroeville.
In the 50s.
In the 50s. So we should be exempt if Penn Hills is exempt.
Good
That's
point.
my argument.
Okay.
We'll let that up to the lawyer. I just thought I'd give him a little heads up.
All right, I appreciate,
This is your partner in crime.
I appreciate all the help you can give me, Steve.
Hey, one thing, make sure, I want everybody to know that I must have apologized 100 times about this. I feel terrible, although I didn't do anything. All I tried to do was get a gas line fixed, and it's turned into wow, I just don't know where it's going.
But it won't be just that area, Jim. It's
I know.
throughout. I mean,
know
it's
that.
crazy.
All over a gas line, I'm sorry.
Bruce? Help.
Yeah, go ahead, Bruce.
Move.
Fair enough.
Just so you know, this isn't indigenous just to Monroeville. There are other communities that are running into the same issue. PennDOT is now beginning to enforce what is the law and saying, we're not going to do this. And oftentimes, they don't use the word anymore. They have taken a position, while we may have maintained something in the past, we're not under an obligation to do it. Here's the statute, which Paul has so kindly given to me. And it clearly says that they don't have a responsibility to maintain it.
And that is a statute?
Yeah,
Or is it a,
I'll give you the section.
I can get it off at a later date.
It's section 513 of the State Highway Law of 1945, 36 Purdon Statute, 670.
45, right after the war.
513.
So that's not their maintenance manual, that's from a,
No, it's, the maintenance manual also says it, but the statute says, "The department's maintenance policy has therefore always been excluded maintenance for stormwater and sanitary sewers in boroughs."
would it behoove us to have a meeting with
There you go. Now,
the
you might-
state senator
Yeah,
and?
and if you want to channel some energy, you might want to contact your state representatives and say, look, we've got to do something here to possibly amend this statute.
I'd like to schedule a meeting, if possible, with Senator Brewster and Mr. Markosic here at the municipal building with all of council, because it concerns all of us.
I agree.
I like that
Absolutely.
idea.
Maybe
Great
get
idea.
it from the horse's mouth. It just seems.
you and I can do that.
Great idea.
All of a sudden.
So what you're all saying is that you're requesting of Tim to set that up?
If he would, please.
Also, keep in mind for the folks out there, while this is all going on, we're holding the gas company at bay at the minute, I believe, Paul, I think. I mean, they're doing what they can, but we're trying to stop them from asphalting their side of the highway, because if they do that, we have to tear it up to fix it. So it's
But
just-
Jimmy, the gas leak is fixed, though. I mean, the
gas
people
leak
that
has
were
been
having
repaired,
gas
yeah.
come up in their homes,
that
that has
part
been
done.
addressed.
That's been corrected. That
So
is
the
correct.
safety issues of someone's house blowing up or
That's-
whatever.
yes.
With your persistence, that has now been taken care of. So
That is
now it's
correct.
just about the storm sewers that came up in the.
And then what happened, the short part of the story is, when they were working on the gas line, come wintertime, there's a spring on the right side going down, the water runs out on the road, it turns into ice, it goes out clean to the center of the highway. I thought it would be a wonderful thing to have PennDOT come in there and maybe do something to stop that water from going on the road, since everybody was working there. It seemed to make sense.
Yes.
Well, from that point on, it just went everywhere but right.
But that also has been a major issue on.
Yes, it has.
They're putting a curb in.
They were talking about, Angela said to me that they would put a French drain down that right side and put a curb at the bottom where the water leans over towards the flowers in the attic, I guess it was at one time. And then also, when I had asked him about that catch basin in past practice, it was Carmen, I believe, said to me, JJ, you would thank Harrisburg for these problems. They took away our people. We don't have the crews like we used to have, so we just can't keep up and keep the pace.
How many accidents are there during?
Oh, there are
the month?
several accidents. That road
We
is
have
shut
records of
down.
those?
That road is shut down continuously in the wintertime from cars.
All right. Do we have records of those accidents?
Ice truck,
Yes.
one of our iPhone.
Oh, yeah, one of our own. Yeah, yep, one of our own salt trucks had problems with that.
Maybe we can use that as.
I mean,
a,
the thing is, in the wintertime, we spend so much time and money trying to keep the ice off the road. It'd be a simple fix to stop it from going out there.
But you need an infrastructure to put that French drain in, which is currently collapsed.
I
So it's
understand.
just-
I mean, I know.
Is this the beginnings of this $3.9 billion sequester coming down?
Yeah, probably.
Now, just to finish up my part real quick. I did talk to PennDOT. So they are going to put in the French drain system to alleviate the spring and the ice problem. We did take some inventory today of the piping system on Northern Pike, just so we have it for our records. There are 7 cross pipes. I originally heard 4, but there's 7. Of the 7, 6 need replaced.
Oh, my God.
Unbelievable. One road.
What's interesting is that there is one pipe, all the pipes are corrugated metal pipe. They're all decayed, they all need replaced. There is one pipe that has been replaced, it's concrete pipe. I know Monroeville didn't replace it, so,
Guess who?
right, exactly.
Thank you for the wonderful news.
Yeah, you're not invited back next time.
Sorry. I'm the Grim Reaper.
Wait a minute, does Mr. Johns have any, I mean, what do we do about holding up the project right now?
I'm not sure where we're going with that. We currently, I happened to talk to the supervisor from People's Dominion, and he said they're currently cutting the road open again. Correct me if I'm wrong, Paul, and they're putting number 12 filler in there so they can asphalt it and it won't sink anymore. So the worst-case scenario is it could be fixed and left alone, that part of it, until we get wherever we're going to go.
Yeah, what they did, Ron, is that their original ditch line, they just used cold patch on it.
And it was
So
sagging.
now they're taking that out and putting in,
So these
regular
cross
asphalt.
lines won't be
But-
affected.
But ultimately, PennDOT's requirement is that they have to mill and pave a half lane of that road. That portion is, my understanding, they're not going to do until this gets resolved.
Okay.
Well, you guys are just giving a lot of good news out tonight.
Well, I mean, the road can remain open. It
Yes.
just wouldn't
No,
have
yeah.
that lane
Right.
paved,
I'm
and even
being
if it would take till
facetious.
next
I think
season.
the biggest part of the road is to fix the spring for the winter time.
Right, that is
The rest of it, even if we get into the winter time, at least that part's done.
How's the DEP going to have a problem with that?
DEP? Not at that point, not yet.
Thank you, Paul. And, oh, my. Sean, you're up. Want to talk a little bit about the 2015 budget calendar, if you would, sir, please?
So, Mr. Little and I have started actually going through the department heads. At this time, we have covered TV 15, the senior center, parks and recreation, IT and engineering. Our first draft of entry into our accounting system has been done by the department heads. There has not been a whole lot of variance, which is nice to see as the chief financial officer and the manager. The departments are coming in line with last year's figures. Nothing has really seemed out of the ordinary to present. The projections that I gave last month, I think, in theory, they should hold true. Everything seems to be going well. I actually did establish a calendar, which I did send out to all members of council. I am waiting for narratives from council, from the mayor, as part of the budget process, but everything is following along as planned. I don't see any.
When would you like the narratives from any member of council or myself?
Yesterday.
Oh, okay.
No, as soon as you possibly can.
Okay.
No, yeah, that would be great, actually.
Very good. Any other questions for Sean, folks? Seeing none, Tim, we'll move over to you and your show for now.
Okay, thanks, Mayor. Joe, can you bring that up? There you go. Thank you, Joe. Last couple of weeks, I attended several seminars on the Blight to Bright seminars, which is a comprehensive program that includes land banking and also code enforcement. And tonight, I just want to introduce this to council about the land bank business plan from the TRICOG. Just a little history. Act 153 was passed in December 2012, providing for the creation and authorizing the creation of land banks. And as I said, it's part of the Blight to Bright program. Land banks go back to the 1970s, and they started in St. Louis and in Cleveland, and recently, the second generation of land banks were in Michigan, Ohio, and now the third generation is starting in Pennsylvania, New York, and in Nebraska. Now, we have three COGs, hence the reason why the Tri-COG Collaborative, which is TCC is an acronym as I move along here. So when I say TCC, that's three COGs have gotten together. The three COGs are our COG, the Turtle Creek Valley COG, the Twin Rivers COG, and also the Still Valley COG. So that's the TCC, the Tri-COG. Now, what is a land bank? To give you a definition that is straight out of the legislation, it's a legal entity that are public agencies with private organizational characteristics to act in real estate market to convert problematic, which is tax delinquent properties. What a land bank, let's see here. Okay, on the screen you can see that we have in the Tri-COG, which is pictured on your screen, we have where the red area that's where a lot of tax delinquent properties are. They sit there, and the taxes, the real estate taxes, become due for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and whether or not they can go to sheriff's sale depends on how attractive they are to somebody who wants to buy it and fix it up. The city of Pittsburgh, as you can see, has 31% blighted property, and the Tri-COG region has 42%. Now, the Tri-COG region includes places like Braddock and Rankin, Homestead, Munhall, and other areas that are blighted. Total annual impact, direct costs, cost to municipal services that has been estimated, and this is all the material, and this is all research done by the three directors and their staff, which includes Amanda Settlemeyer and Ann Lewis at the Still Valley COG, and I don't know, who's the head of the Twin COG? John Pallo? Pallo, okay, thank you. Cost to municipal service is about $10.7 million. Cost and lost tax revenue is about $8.6. million. Indirect costs, loss in property values between 218 and 247 million, and loss in real estate tax between 8.5 and 9.7 million. New development economic benefits will be 11.8 million one-time, 8.2 million new tax revenue. 2012 cost is 254 million in total, according to the graphic. According to the graph. Part of the land bank would be obviously achieving financial stability. The financial commitment from the participating members. And these would be all the municipalities in the Tri-Cog, and I believe there's, about 40 municipalities? 40 municipalities in the three cogs. All of the tax liens on the properties would have to be waived by the three taxing entities, the municipality, the school district, and the county. That would be the first thing. In order to fund the land bank initiative, 50% of the tax has to be recaptured for the first 5 years. For instance, and I'm going to have a couple examples coming up here. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you what, I'm going to move to the examples first and then come back to that slide later. The COG model of land banking provides different strategies for different places. A neighborhood stabilizer, neighborhood restoration, neighborhood preservation, and site development. We have two examples here, right here in Monroeville. A property on Elmwood Street. Taxing body since 2003. In Monroeville, it's $1,800 approximately taxes. Allegheny County, $3,700. Gateway School District, $15,000 for a total of $23,000. That is in lost tax revenue. This is for one property. Now, what the belief is, if we can get that piece of property into the land bank, if it doesn't go to sheriff's sale, if you can get it into the land bank, and I'll get to how it gets into the land bank can fix it up, put it back onto the market, and get it at least back onto the tax rolls. Property maintenance, which we were just talking about before, which is grass cutting on this particular piece of property, and these are all real-time numbers, is approximately $1,400. The next one is a commercial, neighborhood stabilization, the land bank intervention. Agree to discharge $1,800 of real estate taxes plus $1,400 of municipal liens, and collect 50% of the taxes up to 5 years. That would fund the land bank. In a third bullet point, up to 5% of annual collecting of delinquent real estate taxes. That also would fund the land bank. And it has immediate benefits and long-term benefits. So there's three different avenues in which the land bank is funded. Number one is if they take a piece of property and put it back onto the tax rolls, it goes into the land bank, the taxes it generates, they get 50% of those taxes for the next 5 years. The second revenue stream is that 5% of the delinquent taxes, and this is from all three entities, taxing entities, will go into the land bank. And this would be for every community that would enter into the land bank. And we'll get into 4 items that each municipality, school district, and the county have to do in order to get into the land bank. Next is an example of a commercial development on Monroeville Boulevard. A taxing body, delinquent taxes since 2007, Monroeville approximately $2,200, Allegheny County $5,000, Gateway School District almost $21,000 for a total of $31,000 of tax that has been lost. And the property maintenance is approximately almost $1,300. And this basically is a graph here about the same thing with the commercial property, about what has to be waived. These taxes have to be waived by the three taxing entities. Let me go back to the other graphic here about right here. Just to show this on the screen, again, to repeat, this is how the land bank would be funded. The financial commitment from participating members, the tax discharge, you waive the taxes, the tax liens. In most cases, you're not going to be getting them anyway. So properties that have been sitting there for years, if not decades, and are deteriorating and no tax money is coming in. 50% of the tax is recaptured for the first 5 years, and it goes into the land bank. The municipality or the school district or county, they get 50%. The land bank gets 50%. And it's up to 5% of collected delinquent real estate taxes for the jurisdictions participating in the land bank. This graphic is very small. It's difficult to read. In fact, I'm having a hard time reading it. The projected land bank expenses for 1 year is approximately $536,000. So that is not a lot, relatively speaking, compared to what the three taxing entities could be getting from property that's just sitting there and not generating any tax revenue. This graph right here shows the governance structure. There would be 2 municipal representatives on the board, which would consist of, I believe it's 9 people. 2 municipal representatives. The county executive, Mr. Fitzgerald, would appoint 1 representative, and the school districts would appoint 2 more. And then there would be 3 qualified professionals, and qualifications would be professional members would provide land bank expertise in examples of qualified professionals include real estate planning and financial management experts. And 1 other member of the board would be reserved for someone who is a municipal resident and who is a member of a civic organization. So that's how the board for the land bank would be structured under the TCC. Okay, this takes it a little bit more closely as far as the municipal representative. The column on the right shows each COG municipality appoints delegate. That would be to the Municipal Advisory Committee, which would, to the Municipal Advisory Committee would be our representative, which I think it's Paul Caleri. You're the COG rep, am I correct? No? Who's the COG rep?
Tom is.
I'm sorry, Tom is. Okay, Tom Wilson would be he'd be on the Municipal Advisory Committee, and each municipality would have their representative to the COG, and then they would appoint 2 members to go onto the land bank board. The delegate that serves as a representative to the COG would also serve on the Municipal Advisory Committee to the land bank, and the Municipal Advisory Committee would choose among themselves 2 representatives to serve on the land bank board of directors. The advisory committee would also recommend land bank policies and strategies, determine criteria for professional positions on the board, and recommend candidates to fill the qualified professional and resident seats. Now, here is what is being put forth to the municipalities in the TCC, the school districts, and also the county. The county, Mr. Fitzgerald seems to be on board with this. He attended the seminar down at the Steel Valley COG approximately two weeks ago. Sign an intergovernmental cooperation agreement, and the municipalities must pass an ordinance. Commit to 3 financial components to make the land bank financially sustainable, which I just went through, and the delegates sit on the advisory committee. And Amanda Settlemeyer is here. She's a director of the Turtle Creek Valley COG, and her intern, Liz Kazab. Did I pronounce your last name right? And if anybody has any questions from the public or from council, more detailed nuts and bolts questions, they're here to answer any questions that you may have.
Mr. Little, I don't know if it's for you or for Amanda, but what if we, as a municipality, agree to this, but the Gateway School District does not?
That would be a problem.
Yeah, the school districts have to agree as well.
Along with us. That's where the
Yes.
intergovernmental is.
Do we know where Gateway stands on this?
We've not yet talked with the school board. Yeah. We have a pretty good relationship with our municipal members, but we don't really know the school boards very well. So we'll be looking for advice and guidance on how to approach the school boards and talk with them about this.
Just so we know, for the listening audience, we do have a school board director here.
Come on up, Chad.
And I think, I'm going to help Amanda out a little bit. We did have a mayor's roundtable on this very issue a few months back, and everybody seems to be very much in tune with this. And as we're just saying, and Chad, we're just going to throw that out to you. I know you can't answer for the board, but certainly we'd like to get Amanda in front of you and the board, if you will. Why wouldn't we all agree to this? It gets the homes back on the tax rolls. So, I mean, that's kind of crazy not to. You know, we have good homes here that we can do that with. I'm sorry.
What's the risk involved? Is there risk involved for the municipality or the the land banking as a whole? I don't see any.
I don't see any. I think this is a new tool that was recently legislated that helps us combat. I don't think it's blight in Monroeville. In Monroeville, I think it's more of a neighborhood stabilizer where you might have one bad apple in a neighborhood. And our study showed that when your property, very well maintained, is located within 150 feet of a blighted property or a deteriorating property, that you as a homeowner lose approximately 17% of your value, even though your property is well maintained. I don't know about you, but my home is my biggest asset.
Oh, yeah.
And for responsible people in your community, seems very unfair that they're suffering that loss.
To try to get ahead of the curve and anticipate some questions, this is not a redevelopment authority. The land bank does not have eminent domain powers.
Thank you.
And that's probably a question that's going to come up either from council, the public, somewhere down the road. They do not have eminent domain powers.
No, and in fact, the municipality would have veto power over any disposition of property. So really, just like every other COG program, we want to work with our communities, our member communities, to help you achieve your goals. This is just one more way that we can help you do that.
Amanda brings up a good point that the municipality, because they have the zoning powers in the community. Now, you have to abide by the zoning ordinance. There's no question about that, just like anybody else that wants to build anything in the community. But they do have the veto power with respect to disposition of the property that the land bank say that they would sell to a prospective a buyer that wanted to fix it up. And I would defer to Bruce Dice on this, but I do see lawsuits coming down the road. You know, Mr. Clare, you asked about the downside. It's not the downside with respect to the municipality. It's trying to get these back onto the tax rolls. But if a municipality does have the veto power, the question can become, well, they may veto somebody that does have the zoning in place where they can do what they want to do. And I use the example, if you have a very large home that was built 110, 120 years ago, and Monroeville's not a good example of this, but in other places in the TCC, and a prospective person wants to come in, a contractor or whatever, and wants to take the home and turn it into 3 apartments. And let's say it is zone R2, which is permitted to do that. And for some reason, the municipality doesn't want it to be an apartment building, then they veto it. Then I think you're off to the races with a lawsuit. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen all the time, but I can visualize that something like that scenario happening.
Well, let me say what I think. Right now, if you don't join this land bank, if you don't get involved in this program, the status quo will remain, and that means that you will continue to see these properties continue to deteriorate, and nobody's going to fix them up. Nobody's going to do anything with them, because they're already, the ones that are going to be selected here are properties that have potential of some value, but there's so much tax owed in the liens owed that the property owners have literally walked away from them, whether they're commercial or residential. Under the present system, it's a business decision for the school district, generally it's the school district, to initiate sheriff's sale for back taxes. Well, the problem with doing that is it takes 2 years to get it done. It costs somewhere around $7,500 minimum. And then you've got to deal with both the county and the school and the municipality to get them to exonerate their taxes. So now the school district finally has a piece of property that it can go out and sell. The school district's not in that kind of business. I mean, they don't have real estate people working for them to market properties like this. This land bank starts to take on the characteristics of a broker, so to speak, a real estate agent, and the legislature has short-circuited that 2-year period of sheriff's sale. And it's much more expeditious if you're part of the land bank and a property gets put into it. They're not picking while there's hundreds of pieces of property, they're not going to be picking hundreds of pieces of property. They might pick, I'm sure it's going to start out at very few. And they're going to work with those, and then this program will grow. And I would suggest to you that when it's all said and done, you might only see 10 or 20% of those properties into the land bank because it's too voluminous. It's just too much. But at least it's a start away from what we do now, and that's nothing. And that's a fact. I mean, that's what goes on.
Bruce, these wouldn't be targeted like low income or?
No, I think that, well, I shouldn't say what the targets will be. I think if I have any, I think I'm right, they're going to target properties that they think have some potential for value. In other words, location.
Right, okay.
I would think that the sturdiness of the structure, they're going to look at the total amount of taxes that are due and liens are due. They're going to try to pick properties that they think they can market.
So they'll be making business decisions with
Oh,
this.
sure. This is a business. This is, they're in this, and this is nonprofit. I mean, they're not a real estate agent to the extent that they're not trying to make a profit here. They're trying to put properties back on the tax rolls for the benefit of both the county, the school district, and the municipality. And it's a vehicle that the legislature has adopted 2 years ago to permit this to happen. You go around that traditional sheriff sale process, and it's a lot more expeditious.
So, maybe Mr. Dice, so the order, we have to get an intergovernmental cooperation agreement signed first, and then an ordinance?
I think that those two things would happen primarily simultaneously. They're doing this in Westmoreland. They've got, I think, 11 communities in Westmoreland County that are committed to doing it, and it's growing. It's not happening overnight, but it's growing. And, you've got to pass the ordinance and the intergovernmental municipal agreement. In the ordinance, you're going to say in there that you're going to be responsible for certain things, such as grass cutting, keeping it, because again, they're marketing these.
Amanda's disagreeing.
Well, Westmoreland County does do that.
Okay, you don't?
But we don't. The land bank would, any properties that this land bank would acquire as
You'll
set
maintain.
forth in our business plan will maintain. That is a difference between ours
Okay.
and,
All right, so there's a difference.
Amanda, where does the funding come from?
well, it's going to be generated through those things that were set forth. So we're asking.
As they pay back.
Right,
in the three
yeah, any
different areas.
revenues that are, so we have about a 100-page business plan that's on our website, and through that business plan, even though the concept of a land bank is fairly simple, it's recycling property, it's a way to recycle property, the details to do that are, can be tricky, yeah. So we've really put a lot of thought to that, and again, we have that almost 100-page business plan that sort of gives a philosophy of how we would rate properties and things like that.
Okay, I have one more question. For example, let's say there's a home in a really nice neighborhood that is completely run down, and perhaps it may not be worth restoring or building. Would the land bank pay for that to be demolished? And would that land bank provide funds for them to rebuild on that property?
Do you want to answer that? This is Liz Kozub. She's not an intern. She is, we hired her in
sorry.
January, and she is.
Oh, I don't know. I'm sorry, Liz. I thought you were still an intern. I'm sorry.
She's a very good part of our staff, but.
Sure. So as Amanda said, we've looked at properties in
Could you
terms
speak into the microphone? Thank you.
in terms of condition and property assessment. So we do anticipate the land bank will be taking in properties that will need to be demolished, where there's no point to invest land bank funds into renovating them if they're just not worth it. So we do anticipate that. And then that property becomes a piece of land that the land bank owns that could be used in a different way. It could be used for a side lot that a neighbor might want to take in as their property. It could be used by a community group that would be interested in leasing the property and using it for some of their mission-related goals and maintain it until the land bank finds a valuable use for
Well,
it.
is it the goal to get it back on the tax rolls?
It is ultimately, absolutely, but in the interim, if a nonprofit and this is just one small example of an option, would be interested in having a space for a community garden, there are options for short-term leases until the land bank can find an owner.
Now, in my ward, I have an area of property that they recently tore the structure down. And now, it's an empty lot, basically, but it's a very good lot. It's a corner lot. Would that be, would the land bank be able to provide funding for them to build a structure on that lot if someone purchased it?
Okay, just remember, this isn't going to go back to the property owners that own it now. Okay.
I'm not talking about the property owner.
Okay.
I'm talking, talking about Steve coming in and saying, hey, I like that property, I'd like to build a structure on that property.
I don't envision the land bank lending any money. They're not in the business of banking. What they are in the business of doing is offering a parcel of property that has been removed of any of the tax obligations, so that you start with a clean slate, so to speak. And they are looking to you to make the improvements, you, the new possible buyer.
Well, this property is removed from the tax rolls.
Right.
You guys are not going to give financing to someone to put a building up.
It still has
correct?
to lean against it.
I do understand that correctly. Okay.
It's to abolish the taxes, sell the property.
To someone else.
Get it back on the tax rolls.
And then they can make the improvements, build a building, whatever is allowed.
Right.
But you're not going to finance that.
We won't now, we have in our business plan different scenarios. So we've rated properties A, B, and C. A being properties that probably need very little maintenance and can be turned over quickly. B being those properties that may need a little bit of renovations. So when there's an existing structure on the lot, we have potential in our budget to go in and make some repairs in order to make it marketable again.
Right, but you're not financing
A private
a
owner.
new person to come in and take ownership of that and help them to
No.
build?
No.
Okay. I think
Again,
that's,
the advantage
Mr.
of
Wilson,
the-
what you're asking.
Yeah, the advantage to the new
Okay.
person is it's rinsing all the taxes off, all the delinquencies.
Right.
And they're giving you an opportunity to start over, so to
Right.
speak.
Can you be approached? Say I came to you and said, there's a house at whatever street, and I'd like to purchase it if you could make all the liens go away.
That's the best case scenario, because the disposition of property.
The answer is yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. Thanks, Bruce.
I mean,
Stop there.
How's that?
you see a lot of defunct homes that
Yeah.
possibly somebody would like to purchase,
that's
you know,
true.
but
Well, you
they
go
know
through-
there's
How many,
liens.
how
No,
many
you go
people,
through
how
the
many
sheriff's
people have had neighbors come up to them and say, hey, I'd love to get that lot next door over next to my cul-de-sac. I'd like to get that lot. And-
There's
and-
$20,000 liens on it.
So you know, what happens is they come to the school district, we have a interested purchasers agreement that they have to sign. They have to come up with about $7,000. They front the money, the person who wants to get it. They take it through sheriff's sale. It takes a year and a half, 2 years to get through that. And then, if the property owner comes up with the original property owner comes up with the money, he gets it back for a year. So there's a real risk. Now, you make the deal in the interested purchaser agreement says, look, if we go through this process and we sell it, you get your money back from whoever buys it. But there's no guarantee you'll get the piece of property. So there's a risk there, too. Even though you put up the money, you might not get it because somebody might outbid you. But you're going to get paid back the money. The process is archaic. I mean, it's not user-friendly at all. This becomes just that type of user-friendly. Hey, I know this piece of property exists. Will you come out and take a look at it? If you put it on, I'm going to make a bid on it. They're in the business now.
So if Monroeville wants to,
Streamlines it.
Streamlines it.
so if we want to get involved, what kind of time frame?
We have a pretty aggressive time frame. So from now until the end of the year, we're going to be going out and talking to our member municipalities and school boards. And we'd like to have everybody's ordinance and ICA signed by the end of the year. And then we plan to acquire our first properties in April.
And then does the land bank have like draft ordinances?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and those are included in the full business plan.
Very good.
Those ordinances were put together by an attorney that came from the Pennsylvania Housing Alliance. She actually helped write the legislation for land banking.
So I didn't get through all 100 pages of your business plan.
You read it?
Why not? I read slow. My point is, I like the approach. I think this is very fortuitous for our community, and hopefully we don't drag our feet on this. Get with the school board, get in front of them. I'd be more than happy to volunteer whatever I can from our end.
I appreciate that. Okay,
It's a good program, thank you. Any other questions
Yes.
for?
Great program.
thank you.
Nope.
Thanks for your
Thank you,
time.
thank you,
Thanks,
thank you.
Amanda.
Thank you.
Thanks, Liz.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thanks, Liz.
Appreciate you coming.
Okay, Tim, you have Fire Training Center yet?
Oh, I fell on my thumb. 2 months ago, Chief Cole, Councilman Harvey, I don't know who else was here, myself.
Oh.
Paul. Paul's always here, he's like
Leave
me.
Paul out of this.
No,
You've done enough today.
we conveyed to council that Waste Management, who owns the landfill in the community, had to move 1 million cubic yards of dirt. And they proposed to move it over to the Fire Training Center and enlarge, extend the rifle range, and also fill in a ravine that would give an additional 5 to 6 acres. And it seemed like, and it still is, it seems like a real boon to the municipality in order to get this dirt. And the school of thought was, we're doing Waste Management a great service because they would have to truck 1 million cubic yards over a 4-year period off the landfill. And that is quite expensive, depending on how much it costs to truck a cubic yard of dirt, anywhere $4, $5 a cubic yard. You're talking, $4, $5, $6 million. Well, we had a meeting about 6 weeks ago, and that is not the case where we're doing them the greatest service in the world, although I still believe it's a win-win situation. Under the DEP regulations, they still have to have an area where they will cut and fill and put that 1 million cubic yards on their property. So the conversation started, and nobody knows when the conversation started about enlarging the rifle range at the training center. And it spawned from there with filling in the ravine. So right now where we are, and council should be aware of this, as I said to them in an email, is that if Waste Management had to do the grading on their property and keep the dirt on their property, they would pay a grading fee to us like any other developer would who is grading property. And that fee is approximately $225,000 over a 10-year period. So if we move ahead with this, those fees for the grading, which a portion of those obviously would go to Chester engineers who would be inspecting the grading, if I'm not mistaken, Paul. Paul, if anywhere along the line here.
Listening.
Okay. So those fees would go away over a 10-year period. We met, and we think the best way to approach this is the municipality, because the dirt is coming on our property, the fill. We are the applicant, so they would not have to pay any grading fees. So I believe, and I think obviously the fire chiefs believe, that this is still a good situation because it adds a lot of value to the training center. It's just the dynamics have changed a little bit on it, where they're going to move it and put it there, but there's a lot of different amenities that we kind of thought maybe would go with the fire training center are not going to happen, but we still think it's a good a project to proceed with. And if council's in agreement with that, we'll still proceed with it because it is municipal property.
What does it do for the municipality? What's the upside?
Well, I'll let Ron talk about that.
They're going to tear down the cyclone fence to allow their heavy machinery to go over there. We're going to end up with 5 more acres of usable property on the academy. They're also going to go down and grade the rifle range and make it larger as we requested, but nobody had the money to do it. They are also going to go over for free and grade where the FBI building, the new FBI building is going to go, and they're going to do that for free. When they're done moving the land over and grading it, they're going to put the fence back.
Okay, now, is it going to be somewhat compacted that you could?
It's going to be usable. They say it's going to be usable when they're done.
Yeah,
Could
it's
build
going to be,
it.
it's going to be an engineered fill.
Okay, so it could be built upon.
That's correct.
Okay. And 5 acres is a lot of land.
But we're paying for it?
No.
No.
Well, that,
Right now, you got a steep slope. What you're
Right.
telling me is you're
Got a
going to
ravine.
You're going to fill in the steep slope and add 5 acres of usable space could be built upon.
if the municipality wanted to do this, let's say that Waste Management, let's say that they weren't even there. From the meeting, Mike Rind, who works for Waste Management, again, if we wanted to do this and bring in that amount of fill, as I mentioned before, it would cost at a minimum about $4 million if we wanted to do this. Now, if Waste Management wasn't there, we can't afford, we
you would
wouldn't
never
even
do
be
it.
looking at it.
Yeah, it wouldn't be realistic.
Exactly.
But you're also adding to the rifle range, and you're adding to another area that you're grading, right? You said.
Yes, and then they're also grading and preparing the piece of land for the FBI building.
Okay, so somebody ought to put a dollar value to that, just so council hears it, so you know what you're considering here. So you're adding 5 acres of land that's buildable, and you're getting 2 grading areas done at a certain value for nothing.
Actually, we're removing the one, Ron, where the new building is going.
Oh, we're
We've rethought that.
Okay.
That's not going to happen.
So it's only one then, it's only the fire.
The rifle range.
You're going to effectively going to build a rifle range for the police, law enforcement side of it, and then create about a 5-acre plateau for
What do you think the
future.
firing range costs are, if we wanted to just?
Well, it's basically split. It's a 500,000 yards during the first phase, which is for the rifle range, and then the other 500,000 is for the upper section. So it's divided into 2 sections over about a 5-year period.
So the 5 acres is in addition to the rifle range expansion?
Yes. Yes, the 5 acres would be the second phase of it.
And so the opposite way of looking at this, if the municipality decided not to do this at all and not allow them to do this, Waste Management is going to move this earth anyway somewhere on their property.
Yes, they would just relocate it on their own site.
And then if they do that, we would get fees, which would be about $250,000 over the course of 10 years, though.
Correct.
So $250,000 over 10 years versus what Bruce is suggesting is what is the
5
value?
acres plus the rifle range.
Correct.
Yes.
Which we could never afford.
Right.
Well, I agree. I mean, if you wouldn't, this wouldn't be done.
Any other questions, council, on this item? Thank you, sir. And now we'll move over to, hang on, make sure I'm not missing anybody. Reports of our officials, and Tom, we'll start off with you tonight.
I don't have anything tonight, thank you, Mayor.
Very good. Steve?
I just have one announcement that John Caper, the manager of the Municipal Authority, is retiring after 20 years of service, and I want to wish John a lot of good luck, and I know he'll be out there golfing a lot.
I was going to say, that's his next job, is the golf.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, and I'd also like to congratulate his replacement, Jimmy Hunter, and I'm very confident that Jimmy will do a great job. He's been with the authority for quite some time, and it's a good thing. That's all I have.
Paul?
I got a few things here. For the senior center, I wanted to announce that they're having a flu shot clinic Monday, September 22nd, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the senior center. It is by appointment only. Minimum age requirements is if you're under 18. Make sure you check, no allergies. And the long and the short is, please go September 22nd, and remember, it is by appointment. The August senior luncheon will be Monday, August 25th at noon. For $5, you could get a barbecue pulled pork on a Kaiser roll, broccoli salad, vanilla ice cream, lemonade, coffee, and some hot tea.
Oh, no, that's going to be a Sunday bar. Or changed it.
Thanks. You have to buy your tickets. They're only $5, and the deadline for the tickets is August 20th. One more thing we had a agreement on St. Vincent Drive. They did pass out a petition. The petition came 78% for lining the odd side of their road yellow, so there's no parking, to only have them park on the even-numbered side of the road. I did receive the petition back. It's about a 74% would like to have this, and I just actually need a little guidance on how to proceed. This needs to go by ordinance, or...
They petitioned you to do what?
They petitioned to park only on the even number side of the street, which is actually...
Yeah, would have to pass an ordinance.
Is that something we could get on the agenda for Tuesday, or?
No, you'd have to advertise it.
You have to advertise, but it can be done for September.
Yeah, somebody just needs to give me a description of what it is that's going to happen. Maybe
Which street are we talking about?
St. Vincent Drive?
Oh, St. Vincent. Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't-
Work with, Paul, can you get me a description up of what it's going to be, and I can create an ordinance?
Yes.
Okay, thanks, Paul.
It has to be posted also, correct?
Yeah, we have to go through the advertising ordinance and then post it after.
Anything else, Paul?
That's all I have tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Jim?
Yes, sir. The Monroeville Convention Center has a lot of activity going on, so I'll try to read it fast. Steel City Con is going on August 8th through the 10th. The Original Sewing and Quilt Expo is August 14th through the 16th. Just Between Friends, Thursday, August 21st through the 24th. Showmasters Gun Show, August 23rd and 24th. Willie Ski Expo sale will be August 30th and 31st, and also on September 1st. Meeting of the Mark Tattoo Arts Expo. Friday, September 5th through the 7th.
That's all you, Jim.
Thank you very much. Western PA Safety Day, Wednesday, September 10th. Now, on September 11th, I'm going to come back to that here in a second. I'm going to skip that for a minute. Wedding Clickers Bridal Show is Sunday, September 14th, and the Baby Palooza is Sunday, also September 14th. Back to September 11th, Celebrate Monroeville, which is a pretty big affair down there. Your Friend and Mine this year is going to be emceed by Kathy Seviller. I spoke to her last night. She's putting together a little surprise. I'm going to tell council sometime, but not yet. And so I would like to see everybody try to show up to that event. It's pretty interesting. With that, that's pretty much all of that. Please remember, August 20th, 7:30, meeting here concerning the temple off of Abers Creek. For all you folks that live over in the Turnpike Gardens area, it's pretty important. I'd like to see you all show up for that. Good luck to Mr. Caper. And the last thing, for all you folks in Northern Pike, it's turned into I'm not sure what it's turned into. Hang in there, we'll get it done. I'm done.
Thank you, sir. Ron?
What time does Celebrate Monroeville start?
4 o'clock.
Excuse me?
4 o'clock?
That's correct.
Okay. Marywood Drive residents, the Public Works completed the repair on your road. They said they will be coming back to put sealer around that, but they finally got all those sunken ruts out of the Marywood Drive area. Metadel plan, which is down at the bottom of Logan's Ferry. I did ask Public Works to check the storm sewer cleanouts and see if they can get those cleaned out. As far as the flood going across Logan's Ferry, that's another matter that we're going to have to address. But getting the storm sewer cleaned out is on the list. Collingwood Drive, the same storm sewer ruts that Marywood had, and I have advised Mike Adams of it. I don't know where it might be on his list, but that has been turned over to Public Works. Resident on College Park Drive that's been having a problem with a house that's being renovated over there. Mr. Hugus went over and saw it and is working on the problem. I have in front of me, I didn't see the article myself in the Post-Gazette about past Chief Pasquarella filing a federal lawsuit. I didn't read it, but I was told that in the article that the reporter said that he was fired at a secret meeting in March or April. So I have, since I've been a councilman, all the payroll reports here since I have taken office. And I invite any resident to come up after the meeting, not now, and look at them and find one that does not have Steve Pasquarello's name in it, which means he's been paid for the 8 months I've been here. So I don't know what that reporter's talking about, that he was secretly fired or fired at a secret meeting, because he's still being paid to this day. So I am starting to lose my trust in Post-Gazette reporting, or at least the reporter that reported that. I don't know what he's talking about. He's in there, and he has never stopped being paid. I think council should consider talking or starting some serious talks to the owners of the property on Old William Penn at Giant Eagle. I don't know. I think that you all know or are aware of the situation that happened there during that heavy rain. They had one sinkhole that was repaired. Now they have another one up on top in the parking lot. That caused the storm sewer to collapse or be clogged during this rainstorm. That caused an elderly lady, a motorist, to get her car stalled when she went in it, and the water rose so fast that the fire department had to go in and rescue her. If anybody would like to see the pictures, I was going to put them on the camera, but I'll just pass them down. You may or may not have seen them. And by the way, what you see here, the water's still rising in these pictures. So they just got that lady out in time, and we're not talking about an inconvenience to the entrance of a shopping plaza anymore. As you can see by these pictures, we're talking about a very dangerous situation, not only for residents and motorists that go through that intersection, but for emergency responders that have to go on down and possibly make the rescue. So I don't know what the resolution is, except that when my fire department went down and at the request of Mr. Adams to hose all the mud off that was left after that finally opened up, they actually had to take a front loader down there and scrape the road. That turned it into a muddy ice rink. And along with the road department employees and the firemen from my fire station, and 4.5 tanker loads of water later, they got that road hosed off and cleaned off and opened up again. Point being is, it can happen again. And according to Mike Adams, and I think the police department, if it does, they're just going to have to shut it down if we get a bad rain. So that leaves us with somehow forcing them to get that sewer repaired, or us doing it and then filing a lawsuit to recoup our money, or closing the whole intersection down every time it rains fairly heavy, which is going to restrict even the access to University Park for emergency vehicles and people just their normal travel. So I'm not sure where council wants to go from here. I'm just letting you know that we need to take some action. It just can't be a sit back and wait anymore. So maybe we can.
Well, I would think, Ron, that would be something that maybe Mr. Dice can review with Mr. Little.
I don't know if there's something we can do to force them into getting that storm drain open, because it services all of Old William Penn and Glenwood and Lower Beatty. I don't know what else. Old William Penn again, but as you can see, and that, again, what you see in those pictures, it's still rising. It finally stopped about an inch before the top of that car.
You might want to have those photos put up for Tuesday, Ron, just so the residents get an idea of what, for those that didn't see.
And although it looks like a big pond to go in, there were currents underneath there because it was still trying to drain. So when they went in there, the undertow was still there. And it's a dangerous situation. It's very dangerous. And that doggone sewer line being collapsed has been there long enough.
Ron, just to help you, think, with your permission and council's, can you maybe direct Mr. Dice and Mr. Little to sit down and maybe come up with a game plan? Would that be sufficient?
I would be happy to sit with anybody to come up with a game plan.
Do we
If
know-
any of you go down there, go down Olwey and Penn to the stop sign, look over to your right. I showed the mayor today. Look on the weeds, and you'll see the mud line, and that's how high it finally stopped.
And it was high.
So,
Do we know
okay,
the source
to
of-
move on, we got to come up with an answer on that, but I still would like to get moving on the Home Rule Charter Committee, and get something moving so we can start taking applications for residents, or however the best way to do that, to get this committee appointed and moving. That one I'm leaving for Tuesday. Last but not least, I don't know how many of you know, I know I've been questioned on this a bunch of times, and I know we've talked about it in prior council meetings, but ordinance 2278 is an ordinance that we have passed, and what it concerns is it prohibits solicitation of money, services, and other things of value in an aggressive manner in order to address the undesirable conduct impacting the safety of vehicular and pedestrian traffic and affording the community a high quality of urban life. In other words, the people that are standing out there on the road, that everybody's been bugging about getting, doing something about, we already have an ordinance that we can enforce. So we probably should encourage the enforcement on that. Now, I read the whole thing. I'm not sure if Doug has a copy of it or not.
Ron, what number is that?
2278.
Is that concerning the panhandlers? Is that what you're talking
Yes.
about?
Yes.
So, we were talking about getting something passed. It's already here. I'm done.
Nick?
Well, actually, I have a question about the panhandling ordinance. I guess I can review it later, but is there issues with state property, county property, private property?
That would be a Dice question.
I think that's a police chief question.
Oh.
Oh, we have both here.
Pass the buck.
But I can solve this, Paul.
I'm out on this.
I think that it's on any roadway within the Commonwealth. I think it would cover, it's certainly going to cover municipal streets. But I would think, and I'd have to take a look at it, Ron, when was that passed?
It was entered into the legal book November 21st, 2003.
So, okay.
It was enacted November 11th.
Can you just send it down to me quick?
I think at one time, a few years ago, we tried to look at an aggressive panhandling ordinance, being more aggressive. That was part of it. He actually, it was there. The problem with the panhandlers, obviously, there's always soliciting on a highway. There's a motor vehicle code violation. That's why the kids that come around and try to do the college kids try to do for their fraternities and that.
Penn State
we
comes
kick
through
them.
every
We
year.
kick them off. We're pretty aggressive with that. That we just move them along because we don't want them out in the middle of the major intersections trying to solicit donations. What happens with this, the individuals stand along the street and people even get out of the car and hand them money, so that becomes problematic in trying to enforce it. If we do see them in the highways, we do enforce it.
I've been
But that's
getting
kind of
several-
hard to go.
To go back to Nick's
I've been getting
question,
several
it's all
phone
highways.
calls from the Miracle
All
Mile.
highways.
Right.
A lot of folks in the Miracle Mile. I get a lot of phone calls about that.
We do have a, choice. We probably could name them. There's like, or at least not name them, at least know them to see them, 4 or 5 people. One of which was the more aggressive one is now currently incarcerated, so that's quieted down a little bit. But, so we do try to take enforcement, and we have issued citations and made arrests. And some of that's also been public in talks on top of that, too. So, yeah, we certainly look at it, Ron. I mean, we want, I don't like the idea either of the being at the corners, and it seems like it's kind of grown a little bit, over the past few months, if not past year or so.
At a minimum, it's extremely distracting, even if they're standing there putting a sign out.
Sure. I mean, I think one of the real big things is that we should, encourage motorists not to give them the money. If they don't get the money, then it'll stop the problem. And these individuals, they all have, there's other places that they can go to get assistance. It's not like they're not, not getting assistance.
Oh, my God, there's a ton of
Absolutely.
programs.
And there's a ton of programs, and they've been approached, this is an ongoing problem for many years. They've been approached and given those opportunities. We even have a couple homeless people that continue to be in our area, and they've been offered all kind of, I can't tell you, I know that individual officers have gotten them involved in churches here locally to try to support them and to try
Some
to
of
get
you
them
have been offered
places.
jobs, and
They've been
turned it
offered
down.
jobs, they've been offered all of that,
They're
and
making
we've
too much
gone
money.
above and beyond. They've gone above and beyond. So nobody's trying not to assist them in some form or another. And
Why don't
some
you
of this
make-
is also the mental health issues that we certainly deal with.
Doug, are you
all that.
familiar with 2278? You probably haven't read that.
Oh, yeah, I have. Well, I'm familiar with I'm familiar, I think, when we did the ordinance that long ago in the early 2000s.
Only difference between this and the vehicle code is this says nothing about it having to be on public highway.
Right.
So if they're blocking traffic in the Miracle Mile, you can do it.
It could be a playground.
Yeah, well, in the Miracle Mile too, the individual private property owners do have the authority to let people solicit for whatever reason they want to. The mall, historically, nobody's allowed to solicit on it. They stop it immediately.
I'm just saying that if they do any of these violations in the Miracle, I was just picking
Yeah,
them
right,
out.
sure.
The Miracle Mile parking lot, this ordinance is still
It will cover
enforceable.
it, that's correct.
Where the vehicle code isn't.
It's not, that's correct, because the vehicle code's only enforceable on publicly maintained highways or roadways,
All right,
with rare exception. Okay, thanks.
thanks,
Thank
Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
Nick?
I just wanted to thank Public Works, some of the crew on Public Works, I guess it'd be like the line painting division. They upgraded the crosswalk at Heritage Park. The crosswalk services many streets in that neighborhood, access over to Heritage. Saunders Station Road was recently paved by the county. And whenever you repave a road, obviously people can drive a lot faster on it, so that was always a concern. And they've upgraded the crosswalk with some signage, some extra the slow decals on the roadway as well. Chief Cole was able to get the speed sign down there, and it's actually been making a really big difference as far as people slowing down in that corridor. So I ask everyone to still, be careful in that area and maintain, watch the speed in these roads. People a lot of times forget, and I mean, I think we're all guilty of it. Some of these roads, like Saunders Station Road, Haymaker, maybe James Street, and these are still people's neighborhoods. I mean, people, their front yards are right there, so please watch your speed in those areas, and let's keep Monroeville safe. A thanks to the Monroeville Council Senior Citizens for the invite to the hot dog roast. It was very well attended. Mr. Sedlak did all the hot dog roasting, did a great job, and certainly all the volunteers that helped in the kitchen. They put out a good lunch, and it was very nice, really nice event. And best wishes to John Caper as well on his retirement. That's all I have for this evening.
Thank you. Linda?
Alls I have is congratulations to Jimmy Hunter for moving up in the municipality, the Water Authority, and to Mr. Caper, enjoy your golfing. You've worked long enough, it's time to enjoy that. And the rest of my report, I'm going to say for Tuesday.
Okay, and I'll do a very quick wrap-up as well. Give you an update on the Pitcairn road situation. I am still working with Mr. Fitzgerald and Mr. Brewster, our senator, as well as Mr. Markozik. Hopefully, by next month, I'll have some better news for you. We are trying to resolve some funding issues there. School opening, that is, what's the actual date there, Chad? I forgot to write that down. It's something, later this month.
You don't know.
You don't know? You're the school board director.
No,
25th?
He
the
forgets.
25th.
Okay. I just
Thanks, Valerie.
Just want to
Valerie.
remind everybody, school is opening August 25th. Please be careful. Get used to the kids being out there. Good luck to John Caper, and welcome Jim Hunter as well. And the issue that I do have is on Red Oak Drive, and let me get that paper here. Red Oak Court, rather. I apologize for that. Apparently, this goes back all the way to 1998, and I have some documentation from 98 and 99. Mr. Dice was involved in some of this, And Bruce, if you would, maybe we'll do a little quick brief.
Well, yeah, I mean, the two letters that you make reference to are two letters sent to a homeowner inquiring as to when the municipality would be taking over the road, Red Oak Court, or Drive. And we set forth in the two-page letter that as soon as the top is put on, we'll be in a position to accept the road. I inquired of the planning department at the time that they had been inspecting the installation of the road. Everything seemed to be in order. All that needed to be done was the top be put on, and then we would be in a position to accept the dedication of the road. Now, I don't know, has the top been put on, Paul?
I don't think so.
Okay. So the top needs to be put on, and then a letter from the developer would come to us saying, please accept this road. Am I correct in making the assertion that there was inspections of the road when it was installed? Or do you know?
Well, most of it occurred in the early 90s.
Okay.
You know, I actually, last week, we pulled all the files out and we're in the process of reviewing them. So I don't have all those answers for you.
Okay, Bob, if you'll state your name for the record.
Bob Caruso, lifetime resident, I'll sign in, of Monroeville, and for the last 22 years, Red Oak Court. To the best of my knowledge, the top was put on the road, and the road was inspected, and everything seemed to be in order, and the municipality has diligently, through its actions for the last 22 years, removed the snow off the road, picked up our garbage, policed the road. Fire trucks came whenever there were fires or false alarms. So that road has been taken care of by the municipality at least since 1992.
Okay, well, let me ask you this, Paul. Can you maybe get a little bit of, you said you have some records on this to see if any of this was.
I mean, there's some things that, off the top of my head, that, you know, like the sidewalks aren't installed, the street lighting's not installed.
Street lighting is installed, Paul, if
Okay.
you're on the street.
I'm looking through some of the files. It doesn't seem like all the stormwater management facilities were built.
They are, and they have been in place for 20 years.
You know, why don't you inspect it, Paul?
Obviously,
Would that be appropriate?
But what's that?
Would it be
Get on there
appropriate
and
to
take a
get it
look at it.
inspected?
I'm sorry, say it again.
Inspect the road?
Sure, we can do that.
And then maybe we can, if, hopefully, by September then, I mean, give you time to go over everything, go with your records, talk to the residents, because it seems crazy that, according to this letter, that if they met certain conditions, we would accept the road, and this has been
And I think you ought to write to us once he's down there, and Paul, tell us that Paul's been down there, and ask us to accept the roadway.
Send that to Tim.
This started, okay, we'll do that.
Yeah, I was going to say, Bob, you know, listen, I'm just getting involved in this.
Perfect.
Paul, it's been sitting dormant for years, so let's just do this right.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Mayor. Council, thank you.
And thanks, Bob, for coming up.
Sure.
I apologize. I didn't realize the meeting would take this long, and I thank you
No
for
problem.
hanging in there.
No problem.
I'm on vacation next Tuesday, so Nick, I have to pass the gavel to you, sir. The family and I are going to Virginia Beach, so looking forward to that. I'm sorry.
Looking forward to it, too.
Yeah, they're looking forward to it, too. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
See, he's learning.
And,
Was that a warning for
That was a hanging
Virginia Beach,
curveball.
Mayor?
I'm sorry?
Was that a warning for Virginia Beach?
Probably. And with that, I look to seek a motion to go to an executive session for legal and personnel reasons.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all for being patient with us.